Scadrial resides within the Scadrian system of which it has been named after. Scadrial is arguably the most important planet in the Cosmere, and is the planet featured presumably in every Mistborn era, and as of now, Brandon plans on writing 4 eras. Not only that, but the entire Cosmere, to some degree, will end with Mistborn, supported by this word of Brandon, which more or less confirms it. Following the shattering of Edgedancer, 2 of the 16 shards, Preservation and Ruin, of opposing intents decided to invest together in a planet of their own creation. That planet became Scadrial. They chose a star that otherwise had no significant planets in its orbit. Scadrial also has no moon and was eventually constructed in a way to sustain life. It is speculated that the vessels of the shards, Ati of Ruin and Laris of Preservation, had some sort of significant relationship prior to the shattering. The opposing intents of the shards was a dilemma, and in order to create life, a deal had to be struck between them. Preservation was allowed to create life as long as Ruin could eventually destroy everything. This was guaranteed with Preservation's creation of Scadrian humans, sentient life modeled after the Yolish humans Laris and Ati had known on their own home planet of Yolin. For their creation, Preservation had to invest a little bit more of himself into them than Ruin, creating an imbalance that ensured Ruin one day could overpower Preservation and destroy the world. Preservation, knowing this, broke their pact, imprisoning Ruin in the Well of Ascension, creating the entire setup for Mistborn Era 1. The landscape of Scadrial has gone through drastic changes during its relatively short existence. During Era 1, in an attempt to burn off the deepness, the mists, we see Rashik, the Lord Ruler, hold Preservation's power at the well and physically move Scadrial closer to the sun. And in order to maintain life on the planet, Rashik was forced to create ash mounts to block out the sun and change the physiology of the Scadrians on the planet to be able to breathe in the ash falls. Rashik, in secret, also moved a portion of the planet's population to the South Pole to act as a reserve should the whole ash mount thing go poorly. This group is known as the Southern Scadrians, and their physiology was not altered. Luckily, at the end of Era 1, Sazed, thanks to his vast knowledge stored in his metal mines, is able to revert the planet and place it in a more hospitable orbit after taking up both the Shards of Ruin and Preservation, merging them into harmony. This event, known as the Catasandra, is the endpoint of Era 1. To many, this marked the end of the Ashfall, but to the Southern Scadrians, this became known as the Ice Death, for this new orbit created a much harsher, colder climate to endure. In a depiction of the Scadrian system, we can see the different orbits Scadrial was placed in, as well as the 4 uninhabited planets further out, 2 gas giants, and 2 dwarf planets separated by a comet belt. The Scadrial we know in its present form in Era 2 is most similar to our own planet Earth. Throughout the course of Era 2, we see the planet undergo an industrial revolution, propelled much quicker once the potential threat of Southern Scadrial becomes apparent. In the books, we see Harmony, Sazed, berate himself for making life in Elendel, the city that superseded Luthadel from Era 1, too easy, having granted them a nice climate and extra fertile ground, while those outside of Elendel and Southern Scadrial haven't been as fortunate and as a result have managed to become, in ways, more technologically advanced than the people in the basin. Although a portion of this can be attributed to the Sovereign, Kelsier, giving them the means to survive the Ice Death. During Era 2, we also see Trell, an avatar of the Shard autonomy, attempt to invade Scadrial and almost succeed, but in the final moments is pushed back by Harmony's sword, Wax, and perhaps more so by his companion, Wayne. Through its history, Scadrial has had 4 distinct perpendicularities. Ruins manifests as a black metallic lake that the Lord Ruler moved underground, resulting in the formation of the Pits of Half-Sin, which produced a non-pure form of Atium, Ati's god metal. The Well of Ascension, Preservation's perpendicularity, serving as the eventual prison for Ruin, produced Lerasium, Laris's god metal. Harmony's perpendicularity lies somewhere in southern Scadrial, likely a lake of some sort, and produces Harmonium, called Et Metal by the southern Scadrians. Autonomy's short-lived perpendicularity was in Bilming. The cognitive realm of Scadrial, in part referred to as the Expanse of Vapors, consists of thick, ever-shifting mists. Everyone who dies on Scadrial visits the cognitive realm before passing on to whatever lies beyond. Due to the planet's shardic creation, Scadrial is home to multiple investitures, magic systems, and a variety of unique creatures. These investitures consist of Allomancy, Feruchemy, and Hemalurgy. The systems exist because the shards have invested upon the planet. Allomancy is attuned more closely to preservation, while Hemalurgy is ruin, and Feruchemy is a balance between the two. Allomancy pertains to the use of powers from the digestion and burning of allomantic metals, while Feruchemy is the storing of attributes into metal mines for later use, and Hemalurgy is the transfer of attributes through metal spikes. A variety of made creatures inhabit Scadrial, starting with the grotesque Mist Race, which Rashid created from the Terrace people when he held the power, and by use of Hemalurgy the Lord Ruler was able to create 3 prominent races that he controlled throughout Era 1. The Koloss, massive dumb brutes made from a singular charged spike on a human. Kandra, a more advanced form of a mist wraith made of 2 spikes, and are able to manipulate their form by digesting bones. And his prime creation, the Steel Inquisitors, created from a multitude of charged spikes placed in specific parts of the body of a misting or feruchemist. In Era 2, these hemalurgic constructs still exist, and we see the result of humans having bred with Koloss, the Kandra being used as Harmony's personal spies, and the sole remaining Inquisitor being Marsh, as well as a new hemalurgic creation by use of Trellium spikes. The future of Scadrial has yet to be written, literally, but from a few Word of Brandons we can speculate. Based on the ending to Era 2 and the possibility of Era 3 being in the near future, it's likely that Scadrial itself won't undergo any significant changes in that time. Instead, the increase in technology and introduction of the computer will likely make Era 3 feel different, as well as a continued uptick in Cosmere-aware people. I think it's possible a return of some Era 2 characters, or perhaps their kin, and based on the lost metal, Kelsier should play a bigger role in what's to come. As for Era 4 being a space opera, I've got no idea. But I expect major changes to Scadrial and a near inevitable return of some of our more near immortal characters. For more Cosmere invested content, consider subscribing to the channel. Until next time.